Nature versus nurture. It's an old question, and whether you're philosophically inclined or not, it's a question I think that most of us grapple with from time to time. Whether it's with our own lives, when we're faced with something and our inclination is to say, you know what, I'm just not organized, or I'm just not intellectual, or I'm just not that way inclined, or I'm just not patient. Or sometimes when it comes to our kids, we're raising our children and we notice something within them and we wonder, hold on a second, is this something that is a character trait of that child and I just have to accept it? Or is it something that I have to give them the tools to change and work with for the rest of their life? Funnily enough, we see this addressed in an age-old story in this week's parasha. Rebecca is pregnant, and she has this strange pregnancy where every time she walks past a holy place, she feels kicking within her. And every time she walks past an unholy place, she feels kicking within her. And she's curious and wondering, what's going on? Am I pregnant with a sociopath who's going to, be attracted to both purity and impurity, between both good and evil? What is going on here? So she goes and she asks advice, and she's told that she's going to have twins. And one of those children is going to be righteous, and one of those children is going to be evil. And strange enough, she seems to be happy by the answer. A question immediately, I think, comes up, which is, how interesting that here she is, pregnant, the babies have not even been born, and yet their fate seemed to have already been decided. What's going on? Before they're even born, there's going to be one good child, one bad child? Is it completely nature? There's no nurture involved at all? What's going on? So here's what's really going on, is that yes, she found out that she was going to be pregnant with twins. And those twins were going to both have very different natures, right? Jacob was going to have a nature that he was naturally inclined towards goodness. And Esau was going to have a nature that was naturally inclined towards evil and idol worship. And they both had very different tasks in life. Esau's task in life was to overcome his nature towards idol worship, towards evil. And had he achieved that, he would have changed world history forever. Jacob's nature was to develop his righteousness. Unless you think that was not much of a challenge, it is a challenge, because for someone who is growing up in a righteous home, in a house filled with goodness, towards goodness, there is a temptation there to be comfortable, right? Sometimes you have a child who's naturally bright, and the teachers will say about the child is doing well, but he's not putting in the effort, he's not achieving his potential, because there's a challenge there to not be comfortable and to keep on pushing yourself, right? Not to just say, you know what, I'm good. Look, compared to my brother, I'm not a murderer, I'm great. But Jacob was able to overcome his challenge, and he was able to develop his potential and become the Jacob that he became. Esau, on the other hand, was not able to overcome his challenge. And every person is born with a different nature. And with that nature comes with it potential and challenges. And it's our job to overcome our challenges and develop our potential and maximize the nature the nature that we are given to impact the world. And if you look around, sometimes you'll see people that come from, they don't seem to come from very gifted backgrounds. They don't seem to have any particularly gifted talent, and yet they're able to achieve and impact and do good. And sometimes you see people that seem to have it all going for them and yet aren't able to, because we're given a nature, but it's our job to nurture that, overcome our challenges, and develop our potential. Wishing you a good Shabbos.